Diary hello, it's September 2025. You are looking at this Seagate expansion 10TB hard drive, and I'm going to explain why I bought it and why it might be useful to you as well. This is an unboxing and a chat. So first off, let's look at the bottom of the box and notice the fact this is the safecopy 140400 device, and I think that would precisely indicate which model that I've got. Now this is a 10TB, so that's 10,000 gigabytes nominal drive. Why have I bought such a large drive? And in fact today, that's not the largest drive that you could buy. The reason is that in our household, I've had a very unfortunate disaster recovery, which I'm still in the process of recovering from. In that, I have a large workstation with lifetime's worth of data on it, and in the process of formatting a large USB key of about 128 gigabytes, I accidentally clicked on the wrong drive. Bear with me. Clicked format, and this being an Apple system with APFS file system, erased my entire data drive. Now, of course, as an enterprise or as an ex-enterprise storage specialist, you might expect that such a fiasco may involve a restore from a backup. And of course, there was a backup that was currently being made, an rsync backup, which is made every few hours actually. And so I'm in the process of recovering from that. But it's been a while since I've made an external backup of my data, and so this drive is going to be that drive. Now, in terms of data, I used to have something like 30 terabytes of data, but due to a process of whittling down only the essential information of a lifetime, we're down to about 10 terabytes of critical data. So this disk should be ideal. So again, it's the safecopy 140400 expansion HDD. Now this is about, in the UK, only about £150 from Amazon. And of course, the trick, or the well-known fact, is that this drive is actually cheaper to buy in a case. The size of drive is cheaper to buy in a case than it would be as a bare drive. And that's because drive manufacturers are a bit crazy, and they like to sell you a packaged solution, and they actually penalise you for buying a bare drive. So right away, I'm going to use this first as an external drive with this chassis, and secondly, I'm going to do what's called shucking the drive. Let's see what we get in the box, shall we? So this is a complete product for £150, and like I say, this is actually a cheaper way to buy a 10TB drive than if you just bought a bare drive from the manufacturer via a retail website like Amazon or scan.co.uk, my favourite website. Bit cardboard. Apparently there's some backup software which I wouldn't normally touch with a barge pole, but you know what, I think I might give it a go just to see whether it works. Seagate Time Machine, okay. So it says this disk is, oh, I read the French. This disk is pre-formatted with exFAT. Okay, and it can be used with Time Machine. So maybe that's what they mean, data recovery services included. Okay, well, there's a Seagate.com rescue URL. I'm going to look up what that is before perhaps erasing this drive. In the box, we've got the drive. We've got, oh, very good. We've got an international power supply. Lots of ends, lots more than I need. Let's get rid of that US end. I'm not going to be travelling to the US anytime soon, not in the current political climate. Yeah, that US plug, I'm afraid, is going to have to be thrown straight away. We'll leave the rest of the world's plugs as possible, shall we? Apart from that one, maybe. Yeah, so we've got lots of plugs. I think in practical terms, we've got the UK and European plugs, were probably the ones I'd be fancying. Wow, we've got a load of plugs. So we've got the drive, we've got a USB plug, USB Type A plug, and we've got the drive itself, which is, of course is a 3.5-inch drive, 10 terabytes in this chassis. So the plan is to try and see if I can just use this drive. Now, I would say that I'm a great fan of the Unix program called rsync, and my bacon was saved by using my rsync backup, which is made to another hard drive. So I'm first of all going to plug this drive in. It's kind of svelte, to be honest. In a way, it's going to be a bit of a shame to shuck this drive. But I'll plug this in. I'll write a small shell script which will take the existing data directory and rsync it onto this disk, and we're going to see how it goes. By the way, in terms of timing, a disk like this is probably capable of something like 250 megabytes per second, absolutely tops. I did a quick calculation, so 10 terabytes is 10,000 gigabytes. So times another 1,000 to make 10 million megabytes. And we're going to be dividing that by approximately 250 to get the number of seconds. And I did that calculation and it came out at about 11 hours. So to copy 10 terabytes onto this drive at absolute full whack, which I don't think we'll get out of this system, would take about 11 hours. So I would, if I was doing a disaster recovery of, let's say, 10 terabytes, I'm going to set aside at least 12, let's call it 16 hours, just to be on the safe side. So 16 hours would give me a 10 terabyte backup or restore. Okay, next step, connection and some testing.
Diary, good evening. So where are we? We are in the process of looking at the 10 terabyte Seagate drive, which I've just purchased from Amazon for a bargain, £150. Unfortunately, our princess Kitty is not with me. I've just let her out. It's about 3 in the morning. Let's start off by looking at I've just plugged in the drive to an Apple computer, and if you can see there, we've got a few files. Now, I did look up the seagate.com /rescue URL, and that turns out to be a service whereby if the drive that you've bought fails, I don't know what the time period is, but you can send the drive to Seagate and they can attempt a data recovery. That's quite interesting, because I suppose if you could rely on that as your source of backup. I wouldn't so that's a brilliant idea. Anyway, so let's look at the files on the drive that's supplied to us. It's formatted exFAT, so it can be read by Windows or a modern Mac system, and I'm going to start this up. I have no idea what it's going to start. Let's just see what it does. Okay, now you probably see I've got a pop-up here. That's because I run an in and outbound firewall. So let's just say allow to that. Allow to access. Yeah, okay. Let's let it do that. Ah, it's going to a web page. How useless is that? Okay, etc., etc. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to get out of this. Let's fill this in. Through the power of editing, you won't see everything here. Okay, so what I've got, it says Adobe Creative Cloud Pro. What's the offer? Offer details. So you just get a 2-month membership to Adobe Creative Cloud Pro. I don't think that's going to help me recover my data, do you? We'll skip that. Okay, so there's no program for Apple users. There's no extra programs applied to do any kind of backup. You can make it a time machine target, meaning to say that Apple provides a very good backup program called Time Machine, which provides incremental backups to an external drive or an internal drive. So you can use that. So we haven't got anywhere with the software that's on this drive. So we can format it, and we'll continue with the rsync program instead. Okay, we're back. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take the drive, which is mounted in standard sort of Linux or Unix way as /volumes/expansion. That's how it comes from the factory, and we're going to reformat it. Now, if you can remember, this process was the process that it managed to demolish my entire data disk, which is why I'm performing this data recovery. So let's just go through this very, very slowly, shall we? So other button, click on it. We're going to say erase disk, and it's a disk called expansion, nothing else. I'm going to call it SEA10 Seagate 10, and we're going to format it with the Apple file system. Why not? That means it's absolutely no chance of recovery should I accidentally delete it. Actually, there is a product called Disk Drill, which I do own, and I can use that for data recovery at a very low level. But Disk Drill doesn't restore the structure of a disk, it only restores the files. And if you can imagine, the disk that I accidentally deleted contained millions of files, and just putting a few tens of thousands of files back into the right structure would take probably years. So a couple of million files would be impractical. So anyway, here we go. We're raising this expansion, and it's going to be erased. And it says, do you really want to do that? Yeah. Right, so now there's a drive called C10, SEA10, and I can do an information on that, and we will see that that's the guy, which is September, it's 10 terabytes from his APFS. Okay, and let's go to Mr. Unix. If I do something like df minus human grep minus case insensitive C10, so you'll see that macOS automatically mounts it onto /volumes/volume name. It's going to be important. So now, if I've got my save to C10, we're going to edit that file, and I've already actually set up the command. So we're going to use the rsync program. So I use the rsync program from Homebrew. And what is Homebrew? Homebrew is a set of tools that you can install onto an Apple Mac. It's called a package manager, and allows kind of more programming oriented tools. Now, rsync is provided with the Mac operating system, but I found there's a bug or two, so I prefer to use the rsync from Homebrew because it works better. The parameters are pretty much the same, but the Homebrew version is more up to date. So there we are. So this is saying from the source, which is /volume/main/anything, copy all of those expansions onto /volume/C10. Now, if you were to get this wrong, imagine if you were to leave that last bit off there, here, then what you'd actually be doing is deleting. This expands to one or more directories. So let's supposing it expands to 5 directories. So in the case where you've got it right, this is copying all of those 5 directories to this last target. But of course, if this expanded to 5 directories and you miss this off, it would actually take the first 4 directories in my example and blat over the 5th directory. So you don't want that. So you can use a dry run to test it. So I'm going to put that in, shall I? Let's put that in. So let's put that in there. Thank you very much. Okay, so we're going to come out of that. So when we run this program, it should run it as a dry run, and there should be no chance of deleting any data. Let's just cancel. So 2S, that's the program itself. Running corn shell. Volume plus main, that, and volume C10. Okay. Okay, so we've finished there, and we have got the last files, and you can see it's in the process of doing the dry run. It's tried to copy almost 10 terabytes worth of data. So now we're just going to run that again, but we're going to take out the dry run. So if we do edit that, let's take out the dry run. I think you can probably take out the verbose, to be honest. Should we take out the verbose? It just tends to print out a lot of stuff, which I'm really not interested in. Let's come out of that. And we're just going to run it. Are you ready? And there we have it. So we're going to come back in about 12 hours and see what happens. Thanks for watching. So 12 hours later, everything is completed. I'm actually extremely happy. So the end result is that my rsync backup was used in reverse to regenerate the main data volume, which I've now called main. Used to be called array. So that's one positive thing. I've named it better in a more appropriate fashion. And then I've bought this El Cheapo £150 drive and used another rsync program to copy all of the data from there onto this disk. Now I've decided not to shuck the disk. So if you can remember, shucking means to say pulling apart this pre-packaged product and just extracting the raw drive. And why have I decided against shucking straight away? Well, it's because this housing is very robust and sturdy. And I think if I could take it to an off-site store, which used to be thousands of miles away, but now will be hundreds of miles away, I think that's going to work just fine. I'll just take that and the power adapter and the USB cable that was supplied, and I can just use this as a last-ditch remote backup that I can refer to should, for example, the house here get burnt down. So that's what your off-site backup is always used for. It's in case your on-site backups aren't any good. So yeah, I'm very pleased with this drive, £150. I'll leave you with some stats that I got off. Now, typical Apple, you can't read the smart information from a drive, so I've had to plug it into a Windows system, a proper system. And other operating systems are available. I could have done it under Linux as well. So I'll just finish up with some stats. Thanks for watching.